Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. This is Reservations, and I'm Jeremy Blair.
And believe it or not, I think I've been rotoscoped this whole time. My movements are way too fluid.
So fluid
to be done by a normal animator, you know.
Rotoscoped.
And I'm right with it. I also thought of that bit 5 seconds ago.
Jesus Christ.
Rotoscoping has been on my mind because for the episode, of course.
Yeah.
But I had to explain to a colleague today what rotoscoping was, because she didn't know. My colleague from Missouri.
Right.
I was telling her, like, yeah, we're doing the. And this isn't in the beginning of the episode, everyone. I was like, we're doing the 1937 Snow White, and I was like, now knowing what I know about film and animation during that period, like, it's pretty fascinating how rotoscoped everything was. And she was like, what's that? I was like, what's what? She's like, what's rotoscoping? I'm like, oh, well, it's when they film a live person acting the scene and doing the movements and, just acting, and then they animate someone over it. And she was like, that's how they do that? I was like, yeah. I was like, I mean, they don't really do that now, but yeah, that's yeah. And then even Ashley was like man, because I was showing her some of the stuff from today's episode, and I was like, isn't that wild? I was like, also, they didn't rotoscope the dwarves, and I feel like that's saying something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I literally came up with that bit 5 seconds ago. So Jeremy,
yeah,
I told you literally right before we got started, I had some stuff I wanted to catch you up on some things I watched.
Yeah.
And one of the things is going to make you laugh harder than anything. At least I hope so.
Okay, I always do.
So some things I watched over the weekend. Shout out to, I meant to have his name prepped, and I fucked that up, and I didn't. Hang on. It was the guy who he did those videos I sent you of ranking every Disney movie.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Verdana. He's a YouTuber who's doing ranking of every animated Disney movie, and at the bottom of his list, he said the worst Disney film is The Sword in the Stone, and it's been a long time since I've watched it.
Yeah.
So over the weekend, I was like, you know what? I want to see how bad it really is. It's been so long since I've seen it. And you know what? It's pretty bad.
Is it?
It's the plot makes no sense. Like, Disney speed runs this whole book from T.S. White or T.H. White, and like, none of the jokes were that funny. And I was like, man, I remember really liking this as a kid.
Yeah. And
the whole time I was like, what the fuck? Like, how? Because then like the movie just fucking ends. Like, because I know it's probably been a while for you.
Yeah.
But like the whole time, Merlin apparently can see well into the future, and he like tells Arthur at the end of the movie how like he'll be the most famous king. They'll even make a motion picture about it. And Arthur's like, what's a motion picture? And he's like, oh, well, it's like television, but without commercials. And then the movie fucking ends. It ends on that. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, oh my God. And
Jesus.
So that was like kind of earth shattering.
That's crazy. I don't remember that at all.
I know, dude. I was like, there's no fucking way. Now, apparently, again, shout out to Verdana. He does say that the production of Sword in the Stone was incredibly rushed. So I'm sure that explains the abrupt ending. And then to tie into last week's episode, I watched a movie that Verdana also mentioned in his ranking. A movie that statistically probably no one has seen. Strange World, also a Disney movie.
Yeah.
The reason why it ties into last week it's got Jake Gyllenhaal in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, he really can't do anything. The movie wasn't bad at all, actually.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was, it was animated really well. Voice cast was great. The one qualm I had with it, and again, I keep saying his name, Verdana, he brings it up too. It's like Disney couldn't pick a lane for that movie. Like they couldn't decide if they wanted it to be an environmental movie or a generational trauma movie. So they're like, well, we'll just stuff these two ideas into one movie and it'll hit. No, it's like it can't decide. Like both stories get wrapped up way too like Staples. That was easy button.
I see.
Like, but other than that, like it's still like it's a really interesting concept, and like moments actually genuinely made me laugh, and of course Jake Gyllenhaal's great.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I feel like they animated his character Searcher to look a little bit like him, but it was still good. I'd recommend it.
Okay.
I also finished season 3 of Shrinking.
Okay.
Fucking love that shit. The show is so good. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do for season 4, because apparently Bill Lawrence has said it's going to be a new story, but with the same cast. Because I guess these 3 seasons were an arc that he was trying to tell, and now season 4 can kind of be like a new story. So I'm kind of curious to see where that's going to go, because season 3 was great. And then I watched, and I think this is what's going to make you laugh. I watched Jonah Hill's new movie, Outcome. I watched 14 whole minutes of it and promptly turned it off. It's not good.
It's not?
It's not good. Which I'm really disappointed in. I was really hopeful because it's got Keanu Reeves, you know.
Sure, yeah.
But dude, yeah, I hit pause so I could see how far I'd made it in. 14 minutes and turned it off. I was
Wow.
like, oh, this is so bad. Because like, as you know, we've talked about it. Because I know the same for you. I don't let Rotten Tomatoes scores affect my judgment unless they're being, actually like they're hitting points that I'm like, oh, okay, maybe. Ooh, maybe. But yeah, the Rotten Tomatoes score was up for the movie, but the consensus wasn't up. And all it had was rotten 25%. And I'm like, ooh.
It's not good.
I'm like, but fucking Cameron Diaz, fucking Keanu Reeves, and I'm like, yeah, I know Jonah Hill's, people give or take Jonah Hill right now, but I'm like, let's give it a shot. Let's see how bad it really is. It's fucking terrible. Oh my god. Well, I say it's terrible. It's just boring. I was not engaged in that 14 minutes because like, yeah, sure, maybe 14 minutes isn't enough time for a movie to engage you, but the movie hooks you in with the story immediately, which is Keanu Reeves plays like an aged actor where he's getting like blackmailed, and that gets like hit on like 10 minutes in the movie. So like we're going now, and I'm like, I'm so fucking bored. And Jonah Hill put himself in the movie as his like crisis lawyer, who I guess he shaved his head for the role, but he keeps calling Keanu Reeves' character Bubby. He's like, Bubby, don't worry, like I got this. Like, but it just it's like fuck. And so yeah, I turned it off, and I was like, I'm gonna watch season 3 of Shrinking. I'm not gonna waste my time on this. So if Jonah Hill, if you're listening, sorry, dude. Keanu, especially you, I'm sorry, because you definitely seem like, because I feel like Keanu now just really wants to have fun with movies.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, I think that's why he did Sonic 3, which he fucking killed. But dude, fuck, it was so bad. It's like I can't. And I really wanted to like it.
Yeah.
I really wanted to like it, and I was like, no, I can't. Can't do it. Yeah,
that's a shame.
What have you been watching, dude?
Honestly, not much. I've been pretty busy with work and stuff, but I have been rewatching Archer, so that's what I've been watching.
Nice.
Yeah.
Archer's over, right? Like they
Yeah.
ended the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of ending, final 2 episodes of Smiling Friends are up.
Watched them today.
I haven't watched them yet.
Okay.
I haven't watched it yet. I don't want to say goodbye, but
I understand.
I know it's probably time. But yeah, I was like, I gotta catch up, Jeremy up on what I've been watching.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking about. Well, no, I need to finish Severance now.
Yeah.
Speaking of Apple TV shows,
Oh, you need
I
to
need to
get
finish
on that.
Severance. I know. Because I really want to start Your Friends and Neighbors, but I'm not going to start it until I finish Severance.
Okay.
And then I know you said you weren't caring about it, but I kind of want to check out Rooster.
Okay.
And see that. see how that's going.
You'll like it because like it's the new Bill Lawrence stuff. I mean, it's just what it is,
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. Well, and to update everyone, Ashley and I finally finished Twin Peaks, which she did not have the reaction to the finale that I was really hoping she would have. But she did promise me once we finish Twin Peaks, we could watch Psych. Or not Psych, Scrubs.
Oh, great.
So I'll finally get to watch the revival.
Super change of pace.
I've been holding off on it because I'm like, if we're gonna do a marathon of Scrubs, then that can wait. We gotta get through all this. But yeah. Well, with that being said, first of all, sorry everyone, this episode's coming out late. We unfortunately weren't able to record on our normal time. We had a joint birthday for my mother-in-law and Ashley's granddad, which was fun. Just had some cake. Gave my mother-in-law some new D&D dice.
Nice.
Gave Ashley's paw a a little Harry Potter butterbeer glass because he recently went on a journey where he watched all the Harry Potter movies.
Cool.
He'd never seen them, and he knew that Ashley and my sister-in-law and myself were all big Harry Potter fans, and so he was like, should I watch those? And he's retired now, so
nice.
Ashley was like, I mean, sure, yeah, if you want, like, if you have questions, we'll answer them. And he was like, yeah, I think I'll watch him. Nice. And yeah, so we got him a little butterbeer glass.
Cool.
That comes with a little recipe book that you can make little drinks in it.
Aww.
But yeah, so we weren't able to record, but we didn't want to make everyone wait as long as we did with was it? No, it wasn't Enemy. It was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, wasn't it? Yeah. But that being said, today is my pick, and we are discussing, as I already said, the 1937 Walt Disney first full-length animated feature film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which I learned today, because I can't believe I've never noticed it. Dwarves is misspelled on the title.
Well, spelled differently.
Well, I learned apparently for the time it was spelled correctly, and then our boy J.R.R. Tolkien was like, actually, that should be spelled like this with a V. I was like, fucking Tolkien, yeah.
Yep.
But so Jeremy, I have a question for you, man.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this episode's may not be super long.
We'll see.
Do you remember? And I know I've asked you this question for a lot of movies we've done, but do you ever remember the first time you ever saw this movie?
No. Although I do remember, I mean, I don't remember where I was, like how old I was, whatever, but I remember like watching it because very, very specific details of the movie I remember, right? Like, I remember, like paying attention to like how the diamonds shine, right? In the mine, right? I remember that specifically. Of course, I remember the song specifically. I remembered how the apple being dipped into the potion looked. I remembered that. the mirror, right? But I gotta be honest with you, probably 95% of this movie I didn't remember. It's almost like I've watched it for the first time.
You know, same. I also, I know I'd seen it one other time in my life. Couldn't tell you when or where. There's a lot, there's a lot of like specific details I remember. But I didn't remember a whole lot. Like, I didn't remember kind of how much of an asshole Grumpy is. I mean, yeah, that's his name. But I'm like, he's kind of an asshole. But I also, I'm going to be honest, I also was kind of like, this movie is a little boring. I know that might be a hot take, but what I distinctly remember the first time I'd ever seen the movie, I remember the movie being like really like, I wouldn't say like action packed or adventurous, but like I felt like I remember it being a little bit more faster paced.
Sure.
And watching it now as a 33-year-old adult, it's like this movie's kind of slow.
It is a little slow. Yes, and I'll give you where I thought the movie sort of slowed down a little bit. It's when she is cleaning. It is when the dwarves are trying to figure out who is in their house.
Yeah.
And it is them washing their hands and face. Like, those things take a while, right?
Yeah.
Those moments. And then when we get to like her eating the apple, her falling into that coma, them trying to chase down the witch, her being in the coffin, her being resurrected basically by the prince, that happens in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's it like it bottlenecks in the middle there where it's slower, right?
Mm-hmm.
And probably, I wouldn't even say it's to pad the runtime. I think it's just, that's, they wanted to highlight certain portions of the story and they wanted to have characters that are fun to watch, right? And have them be like interesting to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, like Disney is asking people in 1937 to sit down and watch an hour and a half of animation. And in America, that hadn't been done before. And so he needed to find ways to keep people's interest, which sounds counterintuitive, what we're talking about. But I think at the time, it's like, it's slapstick comedy, basically, especially with the dwarves, right? And that's a big deal in 37. Because you have the Marx Brothers are very popular at that time. So that kind of comedic style is still part of the, American culture. And yeah, I mean, at the time you're also, he's taking a huge gamble with this, because he had been successful before with animation. It's just short form, right? He had an Oscar for a short, I don't remember which one, maybe two. Anyway, and there were ones I'd seen before, and those are very popular, and people can have the attention span or the tolerance for short form animation. But having to tell people to sit down and watch an hour and a half of it, I mean, that's a big gamble. And I'm sure you read this. Even back then, the publications were like, they would call it Disney's folly. Like, this is going to ruin him. Like,
wow,
we are about to watch, and this before the movie came out, of course, but they're like, what he has in store, it's going to ruin his career because he has taken this gamble on this thing that no one cares about in this longer form. And they were wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it's the it's the movie that is what built Walt Disney Studios.
In
Like
Burbank.
it's what built in
And
Burbank.
like if we want to, even like more so, like by transitive properties, it's the reason you have Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
like that's crazy. It was so popular that it had merch. Movies didn't have merch, right? It was the first movie to ever have a soundtrack that people could listen to, which is unheard of at that time. It was a huge success, and it sort of paved the way for American animation film from then on out. Now, I will say that obviously this is a Disney movie, the first Disney animated film. However, while I was watching it, and it was before I looked any of this up, I was like, Snow White looks really weird. Like Snow White and the Prince, they don't look quite right. And I had read that one of the animators originally designed her more as a Betty Boop type character, more provocative in her clothing and all of that. And I go, that's it. It looks like Max Fleischer. It looks like a Max Fleischer character. I don't know if you know who that is. Max Fleischer created Betty Boop, and he also did the Superman shorts.
Superman,
right? And that's what they look like. They look like the Superman shorts, right? The dwarves look like Disney. I don't know why they're so different in animation style, but maybe for the rotoscoping.
Maybe.
But they look just like Max Fleischer Superman characters. And I thought that was fascinating because they're at odds with each other in the industry, right? I mean, they're competitors. So I thought that was really interesting that and I'm wondering if someone like went on to work for Max Fleischer and for those Superman shorts. That wouldn't surprise me. But I kept reading about the rotoscoping, and at first it convinced me that there wasn't any. And so when I was watching her dance, I was like, no way that isn't. I was like, no way that's not rotoscope because it's too smooth. And while I was reading, it was like certain portions of it that you might think are rotoscoped aren't. Like the Evil Queen is not rotoscoped ever. And her animation's pretty smooth. Like, okay, it's hard to sort of, I mean, I could give a few examples maybe of the scale of this and like what an undertaking it was. Because like this would have ruined everything if it had gone wrong, right? They weren't lying about that. The publications and the magazines and the news article, they were right. Like if this had gone wrong, we wouldn't know who Disney was, right?
Yeah.
Because of how much it cost to make and how many people it took to make this thing, I think it was 35 animators. And then the number grows as the further down you go, because then you have more people, women, that inked and colored everything. Then you had people that like color corrected and like matched it, pushed it together, whatever, edited it, I suppose. Then you have people that whatever. Then you have another couple hundred people underneath them that are doing things. It's quite an undertaking, which is impressive because the movie, I think the only thing that dates it for me is the animation style of the human characters, right? That dates it a little bit because, again, I'm comparing them to the Superman shorts or other Max Fleischer things. But if it weren't for that, this looks like a Disney movie, right?
Yeah. Well, and clearly Disney learned his lesson from the movie. Also, everyone, we're not going to do a synopsis. You should know the story of this one.
Yeah, we kind of just jumped in.
Well, and that's kind of what I was planning on it. I was like, we're just going to skip it.
It's Snow White. Let's move on.
It's Snow White. You should know the... No, that's not what I'm looking for. You should know it. And I'm trying to find their very next film. I think it was...
I think it's Pinocchio.
I think you're right. I think it was Pinocchio.
Which, speaking of, so there were moments in the movie where I thought to myself, oh, that's really scary. You know?
Yeah.
And I don't remember it at all. Like, growing up as a kid, like, I didn't remember. Like, when Snow White gets lost in the forest and there's all those eyes everywhere, like, that's scary, right?
Yeah.
I thought the queen was scary at times. But mainly it was that sequence of her getting lost in the forest was crazy. You know?
Yeah, it was agreed. I also was like, holy Jesus. Okay. The very next one was Pinocchio. Which is also really crazy to think about. That 3 years later, they did Pinocchio.
Which that also, I mean, that I think sort of cements the style, because that's like that's a Disney movie through and through, and that's it. Right?
Yeah, because they clearly learned their lesson on how to draw humans, because the humans look more like the dwarves,
right?
At least the animation style. Sorry, but yeah, you're right. It's scary, and it made me kind of realize something. You know, Disney took a big risk with this movie, but was also taking risks in making it scary, having some... Sorry for everyone who there's brakes squeak out there. Good God. Hopefully y'all didn't. But some, very kind of adult themes underneath all of the kind of fantasy elements of it. And it made me realize that the company now won't take any risks.
Sure.
Which is kind of crazy that Walt took the biggest risk with the film, and now most of the films are kind of safe. And, again, take what I said at the beginning, Strange World. Strange World was kind of a by the numbers movie, I would say. I mean, I still enjoyed it, but it is a very kind of by the numbers, not too controversial. They don't shove either theme of generational trauma or environmentalism down your throat. The only thing I guess that could be foreseen as controversial is Searcher's son, Ethan, is the only kind of openly gay character in a mainline Disney movie. But it's really fascinating that in almost 100 years since the movie came out, now they're not taking risks. And it's like, maybe go back and like see the biggest risk. Like, y'all wouldn't have all of this without Snow White, Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be 90 next year. That's crazy. So it also, like, when you look at this movie and then you look at movies to come later on, they also sort of find a formula for storytelling and ideas by taking a fairy tale, right?
Mm-hmm.
And changing it just enough to where it's more family friendly and more I would say not censored, but maybe a little more sterilized. Um,
Yeah.
Because you have it with, um, I mean, Pinocchio's pretty, whatever. But I think Alice in Wonderland is like the next one I could think of, or
No,
Cinderella,
so
I guess.
I've got the list now.
Okay, great.
Well, after Pinocchio was Fantasia.
Oh, cool. Really?
Yeah, no, because this is also something I wanted to bring up that I've also learned to, again, shout out to the Verdana movies, is that's also right around the time of, World War II, and Disney kind of pivoted to making propaganda,
right?
And stopped making full-length feature films, and we're doing compilation films. Like, we didn't get Cinderella in 1950 was their first full-length feature film since Bambi in 1942.
Okay.
So it took them 8 years to we're not going to count Song of the South. I mean, no one should forget Song of the South. However, I do believe it's still considered a compilation film.
Okay. Probably.
Probably. We'll never know. We'll never see it. It doesn't exist, apparently. But yeah, sorry, I cut off your train of thought, and I forgot why I brought that up.
Well, I brought up that it would later define a formula for them, not only in the 50s, but even in the 90s. They sort of reinvent like folk tales, fairy tales, like Shakespeare with Lion King, right? So like with this is sort of like will become their template, and then later on it'll be even a template with animation, because then they start using it other places and just draw over it. I think it's in Robin Hood that Snow White's dancing is in.
Oh, really?
Hood, yeah.
I fucking love Robin Hood.
That they just reuse it. Also, Little John, they use a lot of Baloo from.
What? And it's the same voice actor, isn't it?
I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Dude, fucking love Robin Hood, dude. Fucking Robin Hood's so good. Here's a little tease. That's also on my list.
Oh my god.
But no, you're right, because this movie is sort of like the blueprint of the term that has now since been coined, the Disneyfication of these fairy tales. This was based on a Grimm fairy tale, and then later on they would adapt Hans Christian Eriksen fairy tale with Little Mermaid, then with Shakespeare with the Lion King, the taking of this story and softening its edges a little bit, with Snow White especially, they kind of left a few of those edges in, with how fucking terrifying the movie is, and with the overt themes of fucking the queen telling the huntsman to cut out her heart. Jesus Christ. However, it does have a picturesque storybook ending. She rides off with the prince, the unnamed prince, that I also learned he has no fucking name, that they've retroactively given him a name. And I'm like, no, he's just the prince. That's all he's credited. He's the prince.
He was gonna have more in the story, but they said he was too hard to animate, and so they just like sort of wrote around him.
Well, I mean, honestly,
like he's obviously harder than like to draw a dwarf, right? Because a dwarf, they have exaggerated features, they're cartoony, right? But with the humans being more anatomically correct and So like things have to be in balance. Like it's harder to animate that. And so like we're right around him.
Well, and let's be honest with ourselves here. Who remembers most of the princes, from
Right.
from the early Disney films? I mean, what's obviously you get to like, Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid. Obviously, the prince does sort of become a focal point,
Oh yeah.
The Beast is the prince. Prince Eric is he's so handsome. He's the only unproblematic prince, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
Although he can't use his fucking eyes. Sidebar: Ashley and I rewatched The Little Mermaid recently because
Really?
that's her favorite Disney movie.
Cool.
And it hit me. I was like, he opens his fucking eyes when she saves him, right? Like after Ariel saves him, he's fucking looking at her, and he fucking doesn't recognize her the moment he sees her with legs. I don't know. I told Ashley, I was like, look, I'm not trying to poke holes in your favorite movie, but what the fuck? His eyes are clearly open. And she was like, yeah, but maybe he's in a daze. Like maybe he doesn't think she's actually there. I'm like,
right.
I'm going to choose to believe that because that's the only thing that makes sense. But no, again, I think this movie also set a precedent for these early Disney films of, does the prince even matter? I mean, again, Cinderella, the prince, I think, only has 2 scenes in the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
At the ball, and then when they get married.
I think he's in the beginning. It's been a while since I've seen Cinderella.
It's been a while too. Honestly, Cinderella, that's the one I like the least.
Really?
I know that's a hot take.
That is a hot take because Gus is in.
Okay,
look, so I don't understand what you're saying.
Gus is a G, right? Like right. He straight up murders Lucifer, the cat. Everyone, not the devil. But I don't know. It's my least favorite.
Right up.
And I say that having gone to Disney World, now coming up on 4 times, and it's Cinderella's castle at Disney World.
That's right.
So, like, I should probably not say that, but...
I mean, it's not her castle. She married into it, but that's neither here nor there.
I mean, that's true. That's true. I mean,
So wait. So you would pick this movie over Cinderella? You would pick Cinderella? Because again, like, I don't disagree with you that the film slows down quite a bit. Okay.
Yes.
And I think a lot of that has to do with trying different ways to put in like a funny like visual gag, right? Walt Disney would go to the animators and he would pay them $5 for every gag that they would come up with, right? And so, for instance, when the dwarves are hovering at the foot of the beds, where Snow White is, and they sort of pop up and their noses sort of pop, 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 like that was one that earned an animator $5.
I read that today. I was like, at first I read gag as in like a gag order, but then I was like, oh no, wait, like jokes.
Yeah. And so I think maybe like they were like, oh well, we need to like pack every scene these dwarves are in, right? With shtick. So and it's impressive. Like honestly, like to watch animation from the 30s, it's amazing. Like watching it now, like again, I wish I could have watched it like on DVD or something, because I kind of don't love that they clean up the animation in the stream, you know.
I was going to ask you, like, were you able to find that?
No, but VHS would have been preferred. But I don't have VCR. Because I like the way that, you know, like it's old. I want it to look old, right? But anyway, I think that's probably, and again, like the animation is smooth. It looks great. It holds up, right? The rotoscoping, I think, is so smooth. Like the fact that you sort of have to go, is it? You know? I mean, it's expertly done.
I agree. I mean, like you mentioned, I learned today too that the Queen was not rotoscoped.
Yeah.
You know, when I read that, I was like, you're joking. And apparently it was because the animators felt like they wanted to give her so much definition without a reference. Like they essentially poured their heart into the villain, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But it also kind of makes a little sense to have Snow White, who Disney wanted to be very innocent and very sweet, to be sort of this picturesque, to be rotoscoped, but the Queen to feel a little bit more alive, to have the villain be just as fluid but without a reference, which
I agree.
blows my mind.
She's so much more visually interesting, right? Well, I would imagine being an animator, you want to animate something interesting. You don't want to sit there and animate something boring for weeks, right? But so one of the things that I thought was thinking about it as like they were doing this in like 36, the mirror is so good, right?
Dude.
But here's what's funny. So I was reading that the animator who did the face, right? He worked so hard on that face, and to get it to smoothly open its mouth and squint its eyes and all of that, and most of it is covered up with smoke and fire, which he did not animate, someone else did, right? And so when he watched it, he was like, oh, come on, man. You can't even see all his hard work up there, because you can if you pay attention to it. But
well, and then I'm sure he's rolling in his grave after Wish, dude.
I didn't see them.
Neither did I. I refuse to, because it's such a disappointment. But like, there's a scene in which Chris Pine's character, King Magnifico, at the very end of the movie, he gets sucked into a mirror, and for like a brief frame, because it was Disney's centennial movie. It was to celebrate the 100 years of the studio, and so there's a shitload of references to previous films, all kinds of stuff. And there's a brief frame where after he gets sucked into a mirror, that I think they animated it like almost 99% like close to Snow White. Implying, because I saw so many theories that implying that Magnifico is the face in the mirror, but
that's interesting.
It's not, because the very next scene you see him normally inside, like trapped inside the mirror. So it is
okay. Well, I guess you're right. That's not interesting.
Yeah, fuck Wish. I shouldn't say that, just in case we ever get sponsored by Disney. Which
sure.
like I should just cover my mouth and be like, but no, but I mean, I that sucks. Spending weeks, potentially months, on like getting this just right, just for another animator to be like, yeah.
Okay, here's something that I learned or realized, I suppose, watching it this time. And this is like a lifelong error that I have made.
Okay.
Right? It's not off to work we go, it's home to work we go. Had no clue.
Yeah.
Had no idea. Well, because when I was a kid, I'm not like paying attention to where they're going or what's going on, like I was so young when I saw it, and I just thought it was, hi ho, it's off to work we go, not home to work, right? Or from work to home, whatever it was.
Hang on.
It blew me away because I had captions on.
Yeah, same. The same thing. I was like, wait a minute.
Like, those are the words?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Because like I believe, and I don't think I'm the only person who thinks this, because I've had to have seen some sort of pop culture reference to that song with that intent that they're going to work. You know what I mean? I've almost certainly have seen that.
Yeah, the lyric is, "It's home from work we go."
Home from work, yeah. Which I'm like,
yeah, no,
what?
well,
since when?
And to your credit, I do think they say "it's off to work we go" when they leave Snow White.
Oh,
but
maybe.
You hear it for, I think, I could be wrong, but you can barely hear it because
right.
I will say also the sound design, amazing.
Yeah.
That they do sound like they're getting further away. But yeah, no, same thing. I always thought it was
no clue.
Off. Yeah, I thought the same thing as "off to work we go," and then I had the subtitles on and I was like, wait, what? And then like I rewound it a little bit and like kind of sang it along. I'm like, oh my god, it's fucking "Home from Work We Go." Jesus Christ. Okay, we haven't really touched on it. The dwarves themselves. I also forgot. I've always had this idea that Doc was sort of like the smart one, and in a way he is the smartest one.
Sure.
But like he's like bumbling over his words, and I'm like, okay, why is he called Doc then?
I hadn't remembered that either. Also, fun fact: Mel Blanc was originally supposed to be Dopey, and they implied that it's just his voice. What I was reading, I don't know if they meant like he's going to be providing a goofy voice for this character, or if it just his speaking voice. I wasn't sure. A part of me
that would have been
his
amazing
speaking voice, because that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
But they decided that it's better for him to be mute because he's this doofus.
Yeah.
And it worked better that way. I agree. I think Mel Blanc would have been distracted. Mel Blanc, if those of you who don't know, Mel Blanc provided the voices for Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky the Pig, Tweety Bird, Sylvester. In the original,
he is the Looney Tunes.
Basically. Very talented. If you or someone is a voice actor, that's their George Washington on their Mount Rushmore. Is Mel Blanc. Anyway,
did you know that that the Doors had different names before Disney thankfully was like, we should rename them?
I do, but I don't remember what they were.
I have them pulled up.
Perfect.
Snick, Glick, Blick, Flick, Plick, Wick, and I'm assuming it's Gwee.
Interesting.
Or Quee. It's probably Quee.
Interesting.
It's Quee.
Oh. Yeah, I don't like that. But it's because it's not silly enough.
Yeah, and looking at it from a 2026 lens, why did they have to have silly names?
Good point.
Like, why did the dwarves need to have silly names?
And these are names like at first, like before I started watching the movie, I just had this thought where I was like, does Snow White give them those names? No, these are just their names.
Yeah. But see, that brings me to my point about Doc. Everyone else's name is their personality. Why is Doc called Doc? Like, does he?
I think he's like the
have a doctorate.
Perhaps
that's true.
Or maybe he's just a PhD. Yeah. In like English literature.
That he clearly doesn't know how to speak.
I think he has a small speech.
I mean, I will say that made me laugh every time he kept like fumbling over his words, kind of like Porky Pig. But the whole time I was like, I thought he was significantly smarter.
Maybe that's a joke. Maybe it's ironic.
Yeah.
Everyone else has literal names, but not Doc.
Yeah.
It might just be the glasses.
Probably. Yeah. because yeah, he's the only one with glasses. And can I say, Sneezy and Sleepy, I think, are twins because they look identical. I kept confusing them.
That's funny.
Um,
Until, like he was about to sneeze. You're like, oh, that's sneezing.
nah,
So, fun fact about the dwarves. So I lost it. You bastard.
I'm sorry.
That's your fault. It's not, but I'm just going to blame you anyway.
That's fine.
I did have a fun fact about the dwarves. I don't remember what it was. It'll come back to me.
Cool.
It'll be fine.
Okay. I wanted to bring this up too, because I was talking to my colleague, the one who I explained rotoscoping to, about the movie, which is, look, I've had my firm opinions on Disney doing these live action remakes of their classic films. I don't think Snow White was one that needed it, to be honest.
Oh, interesting.
Because having now seen the movie for the first time probably in 30 years,
yeah,
you're right, it holds up. The animation holds up.
Yeah.
The story, yes, as it does slow down, we are sort of in and out. We kind of, the only time jump is from when Ashley made a Sleeping Beauty joke. She's like one could say she's a sleeping beauty. Nailed it. And I was just like,
she did.
No.
She nailed it.
Wait, no. I raised you better than that. Snow White is when she's, in her coma. That's the only time jump we really get. So I'm like, the story of Snow White, apart from the Disneyfication version of it, I feel like is hard to do in live action. I mean, clearly look at the fucking non-Disney live action ones. Fucking Chris Hemsworth didn't want to do it again. And I was like, I don't know. And I was telling her, I was like, besides all the controversy the movie caused, like, I just don't think it was gonna be a good movie. I saw the first trailer and I was like, yeah, nope, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. Plain and simple. Studios should quit giving Mark Webb money. His only good movie was Chronicle. Let him quit giving him money. Yeah, I don't think this movie should have gotten a live action version.
Well, that brings up an interesting point, because since its release, there have been lots and lots and lots of different interpretations and adaptations of Snow White.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I like it when they get clever, right? Like, that's fine. Like Snow White and the Huntsman, it's not for me, but it's a clever idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like it's taking this, because the original Snow White, and the one we're talking about, is not a faithful adaptation, really, right? It is, but it isn't. They took a lot out. And so it's like, then by that token, what's the difference? So, like, its staying power in the public consciousness is crazy. I think a lot of that has to do with, it was the first, full-length Disney animated film. I'm not sure what it, I should have looked this up, of what it did to the popularity of fairy tales during that time, in Grimm fairy tales, and people realizing, oh my god, like, this is not family friendly. I should have looked that up. Anyway, but like, I can think of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 off the top of my head right now. There's that one with Julia Roberts. There was Snow White and the Huntsman. There was a sequel, and then there was this new one that just came out. There's more. Anyway.
Also, I should make an addendum. It was not Mark Webb who did Chronicle. That was Josh Trank. My bad. Mark Webb. Mark Webb gave us 500 Days of Summer.
Oh.
And also Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movies. But my point still stands. Mark Webb peaked. Quit giving him money.
Yeah. So anyway, so like it's impressive the staying power of this story specifically, and again, I think Disney throughout the years after this also creates somewhat of a resurgence of popularity of certain stories, right? So like with Cinderella, for instance, there's also an umpteenth amount of different adaptations of that as well, right?
Yeah.
Lots and lots. My mom, for instance, she does love the live action Cinderella with, what is her name? Lily James.
Is it Lily James?
Of Baby Driver fame. Yes. But you know,
the one with Kate Blanchett.
Yeah. So like my point is, it's like Disney's very good at finding ways to tell an interesting, compelling story while also being family friendly, while, you know, taking the core of like a fairy tale, for instance, or taking the core of a folktale or nonfiction events and creating these incredible, visually extravagant stories. And it all started with this one. I'm still trying to remember that stupid fun fact. It's not going to be fun anymore. Once I tell you, it's not going to live up to me just forgetting. And it's fine.
It doesn't sound like it's fine, though.
It's fine. I don't care. I'm sure it was interesting, but it's can't be this interesting to wait for it. So, anyway, I got to be honest with you. I'm sort of running out of things. I'm sure people can tell that I'm running out of things to say. Because it's pretty, you know, the story's pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
I do think.
I mean, that's why.
You know, like I said, it sort of bottlenecks in the middle and then sprints to the end.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten that the evil queen just falls.
Yeah,
I was trying to remember. Like, what's the climactic scene? How do they, you know, defeat the queen? She just falls.
She just falls, and for sure gets crushed by a rock, and then the buzzards eat her lifeless body.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. No, I'm also running out of things to say. Like I said, I really wanted. I guess this is the wrap up.
Yes,
wrap up.
Yeah.
The main reason why I wanted to talk about the movie is just because it is. You're right. Its lasting power, its staying power, is the first. It is because it is the first full-length feature film. The animation holds up. The story is simple, straightforward, in and out, fantasy. Good defeats evil. Prince gets the princess. They live happily ever after. That's kind of the main reason why I really wanted to talk about it. And also, of course, it had to fit with the theme that I've chosen, which here in a minute, I'm going to let you give. I'm going to give you another guess. I'm going to give you, give you another chance to guess. But this brought up a lot of opinions that I didn't think would. I was like, yeah, you know, we'll talk about the first full-length animated feature film, and then I'm like, man, but also some other things I need to figure out first. But that was, I guess, the wrap up.
Yeah.
So, buddy, do you have another guess as to what my theme is? Especially because I kind of gave you another clue.
Yeah.
With Robin Hood being on the list.
Right. Yeah. I gotta be honest, it didn't help me any.
Oh, okay.
But it's fine. Let's see. I know I'm close.
You're very close.
No, I gotta be right, but I think I'm so close that I'm gonna get further and further away with each guess, I think, because I'm gonna overcorrect or something.
I'll give you another clue. Not what's on my list or anything.
Okay.
Just you are kind of getting bogged down a little bit in the specifics.
Am I getting too specific?
Yes.
Oh. That's funny. Okay.
But again, you're so close.
I know, right? Is your list movies you wanted to revisit before your Disney trip? Is that all this is?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
Again, you're still close, man. You're still close.
I'm gonna get there.
I honestly think you're I don't know if you're going to be mad either at me or at yourself once you're like, oh my God, of course.
Yeah, probably.
But with that being said, what are we talking about next week, buddy?
Okay.
To follow Snow White.
Yeah. So next week, I already know.
Okay, cool.
Next week, it's going to be a fun one, and it's kind of that's fine. I'm super excited about it because I love this movie, and I think you'll really like it too. I hope anyway. It is Orson Welles' adaptation of Franz Kafka's The Trial. We'll be talking about next week.
Oh, I'm very interested because I remember when Criterion announced that they were adding this to the collection, and this was during my phase of the movies I was collecting for my wish list, where I was just gonna take everything. I was like, yeah, sure, they're announcing it, cool. Now I've gotten a little bit more specific, and I'm like, I don't know if yeah. But I do remember reading their blurb about it, and I was like, ooh. And it's got holy shit,
Anthony Perkins,
oh my God. And this was right before he did Psycho or right after he did Psycho?
It's after.
But then of course I read Orson Welles directed it, and I was like, okay. And I remember telling you about it. I was like, dude, I think I'm gonna get this one. And you went ahead and got it.
I did.
And then I think texted me and was like, dude,
it's great.
That movie rocks.
It rocks. It's so good because, like, I don't expect a movie, and this is like, I don't know, it's probably because of my age and because I am making assumptions based on popular films of the time, right? However, I was under the impression, like, they're saying like it's like surreal and dream logic, but they're not going to lean into it. You know, it's going to be a little trippy, but maybe not so much. They're going to reel it in. Nope. It is super disorienting, and it feels like a dream.
Okay.
And it's awesome. And that's exactly what the book wants you to do. That's what the book calls for. I'm listening to it right now.
Okay.
And it is just like, it's awesome. I don't know, like, I was just so giddy that, it's like, oh, they're just gonna, okay, they're just gonna accept this as reality and just continue. I'm in, and it's great. And Orson Welles is great. And this is during Fat Orson Welles, so he and it's a great movie. He hasn't he's not bitter fat yet. He's just fat.
He's not just doing cameos,
right.
In fucking Mel Brooks and Muppets movie.
Right. He's still doing good work, And he's not in it, which is interesting. I mean, kind of. You'll see what I mean, but which is unusual because he likes to be in everything, but he's not in this one. Anthony Perkins is so good. It's a cool story. And I was just blown away by it. I was like, oh man, they stuck with it. They nailed it. It's so good. So yeah, The Trial. Cool.
Really excited. I might need to talk to Ashley about grabbing a copy because it is on my wish list.
Cool.
Because I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but
I'm not sure. Maybe
that's a future raid problem. Here, before we wrap up the episode, let's see. The Trial. It is not.
Ooh.
I would have to rent it or buy it, and if I'm going to buy it, might as well buy it physically.
Yep.
So cool, awesome. All right, everyone. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and we'll see you next week for The Trial.